All right. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. Those of you who I haven't introduced myself to, my name is Amy Gaskill, and I'm the outreach coordinator for the FUSRAP program. Another gentleman here in the center here, Joe Holland, is my counterpart. And we're kind of the two-headed dragon that tackles this FUSRAP outreach. So if you want to reach out to us, please just, the hash sheet out there that you found on the table that has all the QR code and the email address, we monitor those phone numbers and email addresses, so we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if we don't have the answer, we know the people in the FUSRAP program that we can have answer your questions, okay? A little bit of housekeeping. I hope that all of you had a chance to take a look at the posters around the site and talk to our subject matter experts. If you haven't, there will be an opportunity after this presentation to do that. So know that that wasn't the only opportunity to talk to those folks. Restrooms, if you go out that door that you came in and take a right, walk straight ahead, you'll see the restroom. So there's that. And then, let me see. Yeah. So I want to introduce to you, we'll just get on with the show here. We have several people that are going to kind of cycle through these presentation slides and really tell you about what's going on at the site, what the future plans are, and the activities that we have going on. But it is my pleasure to introduce you to Commander Milliman. He is our district commander over from Buffalo District. And he's a West Point grad, which I love to point out. And he's got a lot of energy and a lot of passion for this program. So please welcome to the podium, sir.
Good evening. I think Amy hit that one on the head there. I think I do have a lot of energy. Anyone that's worked with me would probably attest to that. I bring, I think a sense of can-do to the room typically. Maybe not everyone brings the same degree of it, but I think that's absolutely what we're doing here tonight with this project. And I'm really excited to be able to announce that we're looking at going ahead and starting our remediation of this site here in the near future, this summer. So I'd like to introduce or just acknowledge a few of our guests here tonight. So we have Councilwoman Maurer with us. Also, all of our industrial stakeholders that are in here. We have several representatives from several companies. Not going to list all of them, but we have several individuals. We also have representatives from the Department of Energy, Legacy Management, who will have a follow-on mission post remediation to monitor the site. And where's Patrick? And, oh, right there. I was like looking right over. Yeah, I was like, right here. We got those. We also have a representative from Ohio EPA. And all right back there. Perfect. And then I think most importantly, we have several residents of the city of Cleveland and surrounding community here that obviously have a personal interest in the cleanup of this site as you live amongst this area. So with that, if you could go forward one slide, I would appreciate it. So this slide right here kind of depicts the Buffalo District and the Brown. That's our area of responsibility. Of course, our headquarters is up there in Buffalo, but we essentially are responsible for the shoreline of the lower Great Lakes out to the city of Toledo. So, and then up off the stream, up past Moser Southern Dam on the St. Lawrence Seaway. So that's kind of what we cover. And if the water runs into the Great Lakes, that's kind of our responsibility. So across that area, though, you'll see several of those icons, as we currently have 9 sites that are FUSRAP related that we're responsible for. As of tomorrow, technically, we'll go to 8 as we are giving one back to DOE effective tomorrow. That was one up in Buffalo there. We have the Tonawanda landfill will be turned over as the remediation there has been completed. So we'll be down to 8. Effective tomorrow on 1 June. And then, I'm sorry, I'm off by a day. That's a Saturday, I guess, right? So Saturday it'll be effective. And then, what I wanted to highlight here really is we are the experts and the Corps of Engineers for this nuclear remediation that we are doing here. We have a lot of experience with it, and that's kind of what I want to highlight. And the reason I'm highlighting that is obviously the residents of the city of Cleveland have personal interest, but on top of that, I want you to understand that we have a team of experts that are very well adept at handling some of the challenges with these types of projects. So we have a very diverse team of professional engineers, industrial hygienists, and very skilled people that have a lot of reps at doing this type of work. So with that, the priority for this with all FUSRAP is safety, and that is what our driving force is for the schedule and the delivery of this remediation. So I'm sure some of you may believe that this has taken a while to get here, but we are here now, and that will be our guiding principle on how we move forward, is the safety of the residents to do this not only effectively, so we deliver a quality remediation, but do it in a very safe manner. So when we turn that over to the current owners and the DOE legacy management for monitoring beyond our remediation, that we have addressed all of the RAD that is currently present. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the two key speakers for today. And first, we'll have the PM for the project over here to my right, which is Rich Whipple. You can put your hand up, Rich. And then we'll also have our technical lead, which is Elliot Carlson, who's currently seated right there in that chair that I don't know if I would trust it, but you know, I would stand sooner rather than later. That's why that's over there. But with that, I would like to have Rich Whipple come up and take the presentation from here. So thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you coming out tonight. Your time is valuable. I acknowledge that. Our team acknowledges that. And really appreciate you coming out on this really important project to your community. This is all about the community, and we want to keep it that way. We work on a lot of projects that we're successful at, and it's all about the community and getting the community trust, and that's why we're all here. Certainly with that, I also just wanted to point out there were several other meetings involved in this package of outreach. I had a stakeholder meeting a few weeks ago. Yesterday I had a meeting with the emergency managers and first responders as well. And so this meeting is part of those three. Same exact message, and we try and do that on a consistent basis. And with that said, here we have an agenda here, and I really wanted just to ensure and mention that team that we have, and I know a lot of them are here. I would like everybody to put who's on the Army Corps team for this project, please raise your hand. Here you can see around the room, we have a lot of subject matter experts, as Amy mentioned, a lot of scientists, health physicists, chemists, and we've got an awesome team, and I'm really proud that we're at this phase of the project. Tonight we'll detail the status of the project, including a brief history. We'll describe the excavation and disposal method that you're probably all very interested in. And certainly safety is critical to us. Our commander reminds us of that every day, but it's part of my daily battle rhythm to make sure that the safety of the site, of the workers, the community residents is important every single day. And if there's ever an issue with safety, we do a timeout. We reassemble, evaluate that, and go through our battle rhythm, of course, associated with the Army. Part of those safety measures is the air quality, and that's part of the critical information that we're here to try and describe to you tonight. There's going to be construction. We're going to try and give you a little, advance notice of that schedule, an anticipated schedule. It's estimated. We've been working very closely with the contractor, and then after that remedy is in place, we'll have a closeout period that we continue to evaluate. So there's a process here. If you'd like to follow up and answer by email, please send your question. We have at the end, we have our FUSRAP email inbox as well. We'll show that on that slide, so please maybe take a picture of that slide at the end. It's got a QR code on that, and Amy Gaskill and Joe will get back to you on that. Sir?
It's also in all those half sheets, correct?
Yes.
You can pick that up if you don't have a phone or whatever, but it's
Yes.
available at the front table if anyone wants to take that.
So this next slide, and I'm going to get into our process, right? And I have a process that I have to follow every day, and it's awesome. It's the CERCLA process, the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation and Liability Act. As you can see here, we have 3 phases, 3 columns, if you will: the pre-investigation phase, the investigation phase, and the remedial action phase. So we have to go through all these steps. We've done that in the past. We have a lot of history with that. You can see the record of decision at the bottom of that investigation phase. But now we're in that remedial action phase, and so where that yellow star is indicated, that's where we're at. And that's a critical part of that phase. And once the remedy is in place, like I mentioned, we'll begin the process of eventually transferring it back for long-term management to the Department of Energy. The FUSRAP process, as the commander mentioned, follows that CERCLA process, and the Department of Energy referred to the site for FUSRAP investigation. It contains several phases that you see there. For me, it's exciting. It's a planning process. A lot of us do that, though, every day. Think of it almost as a vacation that you're planning. You want to collect the data, you want to evaluate that, you want to choose an action item, an alternative, and then the plan for that, and you move forward with that plan. And so you can see we're at the post-record of decision with the remedial action, and again, I highlighted that as you go through those steps. And there are steps that we follow to a T, and we did a great job on this project with that. After, and I mentioned the stewardship of the site long-term with the Department of Energy after the remedial action is in place. So in terms of the site, I have a vicinity map right here. Certainly it's located on Harvard Avenue, approximately 5 miles south of the area. I think you guys all know where that area is, bordered by the Cuyahoga River and Big Creek. The facility one time did include about 30 buildings on approximately 55 acres in size. Operable unit number 1 there on the graphic is approximately 24 acres and located north of Big Creek, and all the buildings have been removed. So there's foundations on that site, right? The OU, or operable unit, or OU1 South, is located south of Harvard Avenue, but still north of Big Creek. It's about 7 acres in size. Operable unit 2 to the south is approximately 16 acres south of Big Creek. It does have that commercial operation, that trucking facility on the north portion of that site, but it's mainly open field on the south half of that site. On this graphic, you do see investigative area 06, which was about 8 acres in size, north of Harvard Avenue, and it was once owned by the Harshaw Chemical Company. Certainly, we evaluated that site, and no action record of decision was approved and published almost 15 years ago in 2011. So that part is not part of this project that we're moving forward with. In terms of the history, we've highlighted a few activities on here. Certainly our posters, and you can see more of that over there, but we've got a long history here. So really for about 15 years, from the mid-40s to almost 1960, there was a lot of activities regarding the Manhattan Engineering District contracted by Harshaw Chemical Company to process uranium for that early atomic weapons program. Years later, just before 2000, in 1999, the Department of Energy referred the site to the Army Corps to evaluate into the FUSRAP program. So that was the first time that we got a chance to look at that site. So we started our work on that, which included that remedial investigation, again, data collection, analyzing the history, going through a lot of steps. Our scientists worked heavily on that during that period. The feasibility study. I know the final G1 building was demolished as well around 2015. We worked more on the study, conducted an addendum, worked on that proposed plan, and that was issued. And then shortly after that, in 2021, the ROD, the Record of Decision for OU1 and OU2 was approved and released. I know some of you may have been to those public meetings back then. Since then, though, we've also worked on the contracting action on that, and that was recently awarded last year. Certainly this project is going to work closely with our district and our Cleveland area office. Once excavation, site restoration, and demobilization is complete, and the site closeout, we'll begin that process of transferring it back. So right now I want to hand the presentation over to my technical lead and project engineer, Elliot Carlson. He'll get more into the details of the project itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich, and thank you again, all of you, for coming, and thank you to that chair for not failing me. So as you can see, and it's been stated before, we have OU1 North. That's our main area where most of our work is going to be done. We're going to have roughly 8,000 cubic yards of soil to be excavated there. We have OU1 South and OU2. Within these areas in blue, you can see our estimated soil quantities, and all of the dots in OU1 North are monitoring well locations. We have roughly 80 monitoring wells that will be removed throughout the whole site. 11 of these wells will be replaced because they are part of a current groundwater treatment monitoring system. Part of the G1 building that you can see in OU1 North, that foundation will need to be removed to access the contaminated soil below, as well as some of the parking lot OU2. Apologies. The red dots you can see, those are air monitoring locations. Those will monitor air quality 24/7, even when the work is not being conducted. We will also have work zone air monitoring the air quality when work is being conducted, as well as personnel monitoring on the workers to ensure the safety of them and the safety of the surrounding community. So getting to the site activities, before any work is done on the site, we will have a air monitoring baseline conducted. So that will be 30 days of monitoring the just normal conditions, no work being done, no dust being produced. This will establish a background that we can then compare our work conditions to. So that will then tell us if there's any exceedances, if anything needs to be stopped, if any additional things need to be implemented. So first step is the contractor will mobilize their equipment and staff to the site. They will set up temporary support facilities. This will be in a support zone. This will include setting up equipment, offices, operating supplies, and any necessary safety measures that will be required for the contractors as well as the public. Next, we'll have the FUSRAP material removal. This will occur in the exclusion zone. As you can see in the photo, we have personnel with proper PPE and dust suppression occurring. Next, we will have transport and disposal. As I said previously, we'll have a stockpile on site. That stockpile will then be screened and then determined where it needs to go based on its levels. The transport and disposal will then occur off-site to a location in Michigan. Next, we will have soil importing to get the site back to normal conditions. This will include grading the soil for topography, for hydro reasons, and then seeding and restoration of any pavement that may need to be done. And in addition to that, the contractor will then demobilize from the site. Safety, that is our #1 priority for this project and all of our projects. Our goal is to ensure everyone on site has the proper training to be on a FUSRAP site. All personnel conducting work on site or visiting the site will be required to have the proper personal protective equipment. The site access will be secure, access in and out will be monitored, and access to the work zones will also be highly restricted. As previously mentioned, we'll have dust control measures to reduce the dust getting into the air, making sure everything stays on site. We will also have stormwater control, which will ensure that if any rainfall events occur or any ponding occurs, the sediment and contaminants stay on site and are restricted. Next, we'll have air monitoring. Like I said before, we'll have perimeter air monitoring, we'll have work zone air monitoring, and we'll also have independent personnel air monitoring. And if any exceedances occur, we will immediately stop work, reassess, and implement any other things that might be necessary. Finally, we'll have inspections of all equipment and trucks going off-site. These will be screened by our health physicists, ensuring that there's no contamination leaving off the site outside of what's contained within the truck. So this is getting into the air monitoring. We can see on the map here, these red dots are our perimeter air monitoring locations. So they surround the work. In addition to that, we'll have the work zone specific. So as the work moves from OU2 to other areas, we'll have those air monitoring locations move with it. And again, we'll have the personal breathing zone monitors for the personnel conducting the work. Next, our contractors will be installing a wastewater treatment system. This treatment system, it will be constructed for the removal of radionuclides and other contaminants from the water collected on site. Any water produced or collected will be stored in the influent tank. This is roughly 21,000 gallon frac tank, and an additional one can be added if needed. This system that we see here can handle 50 gallons per minute. So we'll have the collected water move through the system, and this will consist of a series of pumps, injectors, blowers, clarifiers, filters, and meters to ensure the effluent collected at the end meets the proper discharge levels. Any solids that are produced or collected during this process will also be screened and transported to the disposal location with other solid waste material. As you've probably seen on the other maps, we have our determined transport and disposal route. This waste will be leaving the site, and it's expected to be transported to your facility in Michigan. We've estimated roughly 25 to 30 trucks per week will be leaving the site. This will be split most likely between 2 separate days, a third if weather day is required. Prior to departure of any trucks or equipment, they will be screened and determined to be safe to leave the site. It's our utmost important, number one priority to not let any material leave the site uncontained. This route that was established complies with all applicable federal, state, and local regulations in regard to moving this type of waste, as well as road weight limits. So here you can see our tentative construction schedule. We have a mobilization of June 2024. Upon arrival, our contractors will begin their pre-construction surveys and investigations to establish their background levels. That's that air monitoring that I referred to for the background levels. Then appropriate security and safety measures will be installed. This includes the stormwater controls, the wastewater treatment system. We will then move into material removal. That's expected to last until October of this year. Following removal of all material and screening to ensure all the material has truly been removed, we will then import soil. We'll have backfill and grading, site restoration, any paving, seeding that needs to be done. Once that's all completed, we'll have a demo estimated now for December of 24 with a contract completion date of May 25. I will now turn it back to Rich to talk about the paths to close out.
Thanks, Elliot. Certainly moving forward with after construction, restoration, and demobilization is complete, we begin the site closeout. We anticipate that to start in late 2025, early 2026. And then we work on the site transfer, as I mentioned earlier, back to the Department of Energy Legacy Management for that long-term stewardship that I mentioned in 2028. If they're applicable, we'll conduct 5-year reviews, which will serve to assess the OU1 remedy in place to ensure the protection of the human health and the environment in the future for reasonably anticipated future land use. Amy's still here in the room. Let me turn it back to you, Amy, to close out the presentation. Thank you, folks.
Okay, we end with this because this is a way that you can stay in touch with us if you have any questions or follow-up, or if you think of anything that you'd like to know. I can certainly work with our subject matter experts to give you the information you need. If you have a smartphone, the QR code can be scanned, and I do monitor that 1-800 number and the FUSRAP email address on a daily basis. It's how I start my day every day, is to look at that and make sure I'm getting to your questions that you have. So,
Thank you all.
Thank you.